In the heart of a rugged mountain valley, where the wind whispered through the pines and the river sang to the stones, there was a humble village. Life here moved slowly, shaped by the seasons, harsh winters and fleeting golden summers. Tucked away at the edge of this village lived an old lantern maker named Samuel. His cottage was a patchwork of weathered timber and stone, warmed by the gentle glow of lanterns he crafted with his own weary hands. Samuel was a man marked by time. His skin was creased and leathery, his hair white as frost, and his eyesight faded. Yet each night, his lanterns burned brightly, casting their glow across the valley like a constellation, as if the stars themselves had fallen to earth. The people in the village often wondered at Samuel's persistence. Lanterns, once a prized possession, had become a luxury few could afford. Most relied on the moon's pale light or the flicker of cheap candles. Yet Samuel never ceased in his work. Each morning, he rose before dawn, tending to the delicate art of shaping metal and glass, coaxing flame to life. He worked with a quiet patience, as if each lantern held a story only he could tell. One brisk autumn evening, a curious boy named Eli wandered into Samuel's workshop. Eli was young, his eyes bright with questions, his spirit untouched by the weariness that clung to the older villagers. He watched Samuel's hands move with deliberate care, shaping a lantern frame as if it were a treasure. Unable to contain his curiosity, Eli spoke up. "Master, why do you spend your days making lanterns when no one buys them?" Samuel paused, a gentle smile creasing his face. He set aside his tools and motioned for Eli to sit. "Come, child," Samuel said, his voice soft as the dusk, "and I will tell you a story." Samuel's tale began long ago, on a night much like this. As a young man, he had known sorrow. A cruel storm had swept through the valley, leaving him alone, his family lost to the unruly tempests of fate. In the aftermath, Samuel wandered through darkness, grief weighing heavy on his soul. He spoke of a night when despair nearly swallowed him whole, when the world seemed void of warmth or hope. Yet, through the blackness, a single lantern flickered in the distance, a beacon of light, fragile but unwavering. Drawn by its glow, Samuel stumbled toward the lantern, finding himself at the door of a stranger's home. There, he was met not with suspicion, but with open arms. The stranger offered warmth, food, and gentle words. That lantern, Samuel whispered, had saved him from the cold and from the darkness within. From that night on, Samuel vowed that he would craft lanterns, so that no soul would ever be lost in the dark, as he once was. Eli listened, wonder growing in his eyes. "But master," he asked, "your lanterns may not reach everyone. What if no one sees them?" Samuel nodded, understanding the boy's concern. "That may be true," he replied. "But if even a single person finds hope in their glow, if one heart is comforted, one path made clear, then my work is worth every breath." Years passed. The village changed as hardship grew. The mines dried up, crops failed, and hunger became a common guest. The people began to scoff at Samuel's devotion. "Lanterns cannot fill our bellies," they would say, "nor shield us from the storms." Still, Samuel continued. His lanterns, simple yet crafted with love, went unnoticed by most, except for the occasional child who admired the colored glass and dancing flame. Then came a night unlike any before, a storm of furious wind and lashing rain, blackening the sky and swallowing every trace of the moon. The valley trembled as thunder rolled through the mountains. Roofs collapsed, paths vanished, and panic swept through the village like wildfire. Families huddled together, afraid to venture outside, for the world beyond their doors had become a labyrinth of shadow. But as the tempest raged, something remarkable began to happen. Small lights began to appear across the valley, flickering bravely against the darkness. Samuel, anticipating the storm, had placed his lanterns along the roads and in high places. Their glow pierced the gloom, tracing a path to the village square, the only solid ground, untouched by the floodwaters. One by one, villagers stepped from their homes, drawn by the lantern's gentle radiance. Through the howling wind, they followed the glowing trail, clutching their children and guiding the elderly. In the square, they gathered, soaked, shivering, but safe. The lanterns had led them through the storm, a lifeline of hope when all else seemed lost. With the dawn, the storm at last relented. The sun rose over a battered valley, its golden rays mingling with the lingering glow of Samuel's lanterns. The villagers assembled outside Samuel's workshop, their hearts full of gratitude and regret. One approached him, voice trembling with emotion. "We mocked your work, old friend," he said. "Yet your lanterns saved our children. Forgive us." Samuel shook his head, his eyes kind. "There is nothing to forgive," he answered. "A lantern does not ask if its light is valued. It simply shines." From that day on, the villagers honored Samuel's craft. They taught their children the story of the lantern maker, passing down the lesson that even the smallest light can guide many through the darkest night. They learned that true purpose is not found in recognition or reward, but in service, quiet, steadfast, and enduring. Hope, once shared, multiplies beyond measure. Eli, who had grown into a thoughtful young man, became Samuel's apprentice. Together they shaped lanterns, not for profit, but for the promise of light in the darkness. And when Samuel's hands grew too weak to hold the tools, Eli carried on the work. The lanterns continued to burn across the valley, silent but steadfast reminders that one person's devotion can change the fate of many. This story carries a truth that resonates in every heart. Each of us possesses a lantern within, a spark of kindness, resilience, and courage. Alone, it may seem small, insignificant against the vastness of the world. But to someone lost in the darkness, your light may be the beacon that guides them home. Never doubt the worth of your light. Like Samuel's lanterns, your acts of compassion, your moments of courage, your willingness to serve, these are the flames that can illuminate the paths of others. In a world often shadowed by uncertainty and fear, it is the quiet devotion of ordinary people that keeps hope alive. So, remember the lantern maker's lesson. Light is not measured by its recognition, but by its ability to guide. Shine bravely, even when you feel unseen. Your light may one day be the hope that carries another through their storm.